But
of the
Greg, what I'm
nation.
asking for is before we get off, give me one example of an action item that you're going to do that promotes unity.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know. I am trying to
He's
put
not waiting for unity.
something really simple, right?
Well, hello out there. Well, the day is finally here. Presidential election 2020.
Don't block this.
Don't block the fire lane, though.
I cut that out.
Either yours or mine is going to get elected. And that's it. One or the other, period. End of story. So if mine gets, great. If not, great. And then you just move on. You do what you have to do for yourself, for your family, for your community, for your city, and you move on for the next 4 years. Because before you know it, guys, it's gonna be long gone. Before you know it, we're gonna be voting for another president too. So like Alex, what would be your take on that? I mean, what are you expecting? Once the president's elected, or do you have any expectations of that?
I'm expecting. I'm gonna talk about from the perspective of kind of like hope, as opposed to expectation. Um, I hope that our city here in San Antonio, Texas, goes out and votes. I
Doing
hope.
that, I think it's already like 800,000 or something. It's a
Yeah.
crazy
So
number.
so we know the people in our city are like we said in our last video, letting their voice be heard. So then what happens then is you're going to have a winner, so to speak. And it keeps coming up to me. The hope is that I don't want to downplay it or minimize it, but the hope is that when we were children and you were out there playing a soccer game, a basketball game, a football game, your coach always taught you about great sportsmanship, right? And also respect towards the other team. So when the whistle blows and the game is over, what did you do after the game, Sam?
Well, of all the coaches I had, most of them, that's kind of the perspective they came from. But I did have one whose perspective was totally different, which I think that's the perspective I took, throughout most of my high school career.
Okay, well, just if you want to,
I was, and
want to
I'll
share
admit
that,
this.
even
I
though.
think a lot of people out there would say it too. I was a sore loser. I hated to lose. I really did.
Okay.
And I did everything to win at all costs. I mean, I was not the nicest person on the court. I was not the nicest person on the field. I was the nicest person on the track. I mean, I wanted to win. I mean, and if it meant, doing some things, kind of outside the box, well, I did those things. I don't think people should. It's just that, I think that this particular coach that I had, when in my youth, he just there's something about him and the way he just constantly ran and rated and was just had this incredible passion, man, about winning and being in perfection and getting it done and getting it right. I took a lot from that.
And Sam, that's the polarization. Both sides feel very strong that they have the best candidate for the job.
Exactly.
But once the decision's made, how do we come together? How do we unite as a country? Because I don't think that took place in 2016. Right? And I'm not here to criticize. But as we move into 2020 and we're still in this pandemic, and as we keep moving through history, I think it's important that we do figure out how to come together and unite. One nation, not two divided camps.
I think the thing that's coming up is I imagine I'm a father and I have a young son or a young daughter and I'm their first coach. and I'm their first, the parent, the father and the mother is their first everything. And I think one of the things that I always used to tell my daughters is that after the game, shake their hands. With the pandemic, we can't do that, of course, but shake their hands and thank them for the game. And then also, for some reason, and I don't know where I got it from, I would always tell them, if you see the best player on their team, like let's say you're getting water or you're getting whatever. I always said, go to that person, shake their hand, and say, "Hey, that was a great game. Thank you. You played a great game." And the reason I would tell them to do that, to always go to the best player. I mean, they can thank any player, but if you see the best player, because I think what to me, my message was that best player is going to bring out the best in you, because you're so competitive trying to beat that person. But at the end of the game, you just give that respect for them doing that. So I'm talking to the young father that maybe didn't have their father to teach them that when you go to the game or you're playing in the game, let's say you're playing basketball, right, on the street, because I was a basketball, how do you say it, outdoor basketball person. And I was like you, Sam, I hated to lose. I just hated it. And then when I would come home, my wife, was my girlfriend at that time, I was very grumpy and very just bring a negative vibe. And I remember one time she told me, she said, "You need to learn how to lose." And I said, "What? Are you kidding me? Like, what kind of winner learns how to lose? Like, I don't want to learn how to lose. I just want to win." And as I get older now, what I'm doing is I'm thinking about it and I'm saying, you give it your best shot. And when the game is over, if you don't win, you then go back and you practice some more and do something to help to improve yourself to be better the next time around. But you don't have to have that negative attitude. You don't have to bring that home, which brings me back to the election. Everybody should be putting their best foot forward right now, right? And then once the election is over, you just have to respect the others, respect others. I mean, if there's probably one of the greatest virtues of all, it's respect. And you just shake their hand and you say, "Hey, 4 years, let's see what we can do."
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you one thing, man.
And you said, growing up, I was a sore loser. Do you think you're still a sore loser, or has something, however you want to put it, changed? And then what was it that change that happened? So that way the fathers out there can say, "Okay, now I see going from this to that." How old were you when you went from going from to then, you know what, just live with the result and become a better?
I would say,
how old were you when that changed?
I started organized sports when I was about 11. So I say from 11 to 56. I'm just kidding.
I just learned.
It was like in my early 30s, man. You know.
Okay.
It took me becoming a father to realize I really needed to calm down.
Yeah, I think so. I think when you become a father, that's
it
when
changes everything.
It changes
all
everything.
the perspectives. Yeah.
Because
and that's some of this beauty, right? There's a lot of checks and balances built into our election system, right? The Senate, the House, Congress, judges, the Supreme Court, it all balances this thing out. So even if you feel like the wrong guy got in the place for the next 4 years, there's balance in this. My point is that we need to find unity and we need to move forward, right? It's not the end of the world.
What does that look like, Greg? Give me an example of unity.
So let's just step back for a second, right? And let's say in 2016, everybody was devastated because Hillary Clinton didn't win. Well, we're still here. It wasn't the end of the world.
Mhm.
And we're faced with another election. And I guarantee you in 2024, no matter who's the president, there's going to be another election.
Mhm.
And we can have this conversation all over again.
But
Now,
before we go,
what we choose to do with these 4 years is completely up to us as a people.
As a people.
but
as a
Greg, what I'm
nation.
asking for is before we get off, give me one example of an action item that you're going to do that promotes unity.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, so I don't know. I am trying to.
He's
put
not
my
ready
arms
for
around
unity.
something really specific. So we can disagree, but then once the decision's made, we have to get in line with it, right? I'm going to support the next president of the United States of America. I'm going to do my patriotic duty. I will still engage. I will still pay taxes. I will get aligned with the principles and I'll align myself to that.
So what I'm getting to is that what I would like is for you to tell the young dad, this is what I'm going to do as an action
So,
for
so
unity.
instead of complaining about it, I'm going to learn to accept it,
Okay,
right? And I'm going to find gratitude in a defeat if I feel like it's a defeat. And I'm going to find gratitude in a triumph.
but that I can't grab that. What I'm looking for is, hey, I'm Alex, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go do this.
We can be bitter, or I can say, you know what? I'm grateful to live in a country that has freedoms. That if I don't like that guy in the White House, I can say something. And if I love that guy in the White House, I can say something.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But as a people, I'm going to come together. I'm going to extend my hand in unity. The decision is made.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend the next 4 years
Whether you win or
arguing.
whether you get defeated, it's one of the same. Shake hands and let's move on.
I think one of the obvious things that I think we can do, or at least one of the simple day-to-day things that we can do, is with the pandemic, businesses are closing left and right, and some of those are all those businesses are owned by different whatever you want to call it groups. You know what I mean? So I think one of the things we can do to show that unity is to support those businesses regardless of what group they're with. You know what I mean? And what does that mean? That means go purchase their food, go purchase their services, purchase their product. And it's not like, oh, I don't want to support them because they're that party, or I don't want to support them because they're that party. So I think that's a something that you can do, and you should be doing that already. But I mean, that's something that you can do to create that unity.
I tell people all the time in my classes that I teach that, hey, it's a whole lot easier to be at peace with people than to be at war. So let's have some peace.
Yeah. Until later.
Guys, we'll see y'all later. See you at the next episode. Thank you.
Peace be with you.
And